Just ahead on News 13 tonight, the president pitches for Contra aid and answers some tough questions about Attorney General Edwin Meese. We'll also tell you about new controversial comments from candidate Pat Robertson.
A local college hosts an X-rated movie, and we'll tell you about the efforts to find a home for these orphan cubs found in the Adirondacks. These stories, a whole lot more, headed your way straight ahead on News 13 tonight.
Now, from WNYT, news for the Capital Region. With Ed Dague, Chris Kapostasy, Bob McNamara on sports, and meteorologist Herb Stevens. This is News 13 tonight.
Good evening. Presidential politics top tonight's report as the candidates hit the campaign trail headed for Super Tuesday.
And the man in the White House hit the airwaves tonight. It was President Reagan's first news conference of the year. He took the opportunity to reiterate his support for the Nicaraguan Contras. This time the networks carried his speech. The president's last pitch for the Contras was judged by the networks not to be newsworthy.
The president opened his news conference talking about the Contras. He opposed a Democratic package the House will vote on soon that would give the rebels humanitarian aid but no weapons. Mr. Reagan pushed instead for a Republican substitute.
We cannot leave those fighting for freedom in Nicaragua at the mercy of the communist regime and expect the process toward democracy to move ahead.
On the Mideast, the president said that some of the Palestinian riots in Israel have been led by outsiders, but called for all sides to start a new peace process. The president sharply defended Attorney General Meese, who is under investigation by an independent counsel, saying he has full confidence in his longtime advisor. And while he condemned any violations of ethics by people who have worked in his administration, Mr. Reagan made it clear he thinks many of the charges have been unfounded.
I think, and this has gone on pretty much throughout the time that I've been here, that there is a kind of lynch mob atmosphere that takes place. And people are, the memories are there of this person, that person, and so forth.
On other issues, the president made his strongest call yet for General Noriega to step down as the military dictator of Panama. And Mr. Reagan defended cuts he's made in aid for the homeless, saying the private sector has picked up any slack. Chris Wallace, NBC News, at the White House.
One of the men who hopes to be president was in the spotlight once again today for making controversial statements about international affairs. Pat Robertson said his Christian broadcasting network learned the whereabouts of American hostages in Lebanon, and Robertson said the Reagan administration should have known about it.
In South Dakota, we identified in our news department at CBN the location of those hostages in Lebanon very shortly after they were taken, and they were in a position where they could have been rescued. They were in Beirut, and they could have been freed. Once they're moved into the Bekaa Valley, for example, it would take a major military operation to get them out.
A White House spokesman today asked of Robertson, why didn't he tell us? Later, Robertson said he was talking about hostages taken 3 years ago during the TWA hijacking in Beirut. And there was more fallout today about Robertson's charges that the Bush campaign helped publicize a sex scandal involving television evangelist Jimmy Swaggart. Robertson said the scandal was timed to embarrass him before Super Tuesday. Well, Bush has denied any connection to that incident, and today he went a step further.
Somebody's going to make a scathing allegation of that nature, they ought to prove it. And if they can't prove it, they ought to apologize for it.
Bush today also said he was disappointed by his losses in the South Dakota primary and the Minnesota caucuses yesterday.
The winner of last night's contest were also aiming at Super Tuesday, now less than 2 weeks away. Today, both Robert Dole and Michael Dukakis tried to portray themselves as national and not regional candidates.
I think I'm the one Democratic candidate that's contesting and competing in every state. And I think that's what you have to do if you're serious about being a national candidate and winning this nomination and winning the presidency.
I don't know how well we can do, but we're going to be players in this state, and we want people to know that I'm a national candidate.